Can you hear me? Good evening, friends. I thank the Chairman and the Board of Governors, XLRI, for inviting me to be the chief guest for your 63rd Convocation. I'm delighted to be here today since for years I have heard such good things about your institute. A big thank you to Tata Steel for the excellent hospitality to my daughter and me. Thank you. I'm grateful to XLRI for bestowing upon me the Sir Jahangir Gandhi Medal for Industrial and Social Peace. It is truly an honor which I am not sure I deserve, but I thank you. Congratulations to the class of 2019 and all the best. I have chosen to speak to you today on my life and the lessons learned. But before this, I would like to say a few words on the subject of peace, since I have received the Medal for Industrial and Social Peace. With countries having nuclear power more than ever before, there is an imperative to have compassion, peace, and harmony in India and the rest of the world. We have made huge technological advances, and though the internet has connected us to the world, we seem to be far removed emotionally from our fellow men and near and dear ones. The absence of war does not mean we have achieved peace. I believe the process starts by being at peace with oneself. Just as an empty earthenware pot cannot provide water to parched people, similarly, with constant turmoil and bitterness within us, we cannot spread peace. I would not advocate any one method to obtain inner peace, which in any case is a journey, and each of us has to discover our own path. I would urge you to be aware of your biases and prejudices and work on them with compassion and reach out to those against whom you harbor prejudice and at least try to understand them. Speak up against injustice and huge disparities. For peace to prevail in India, we need stability and, more importantly, have to address the huge disparities and inequalities in our society. If I have to take only one parameter to indicate how far we are from any measure of equality, let me take the example of malnourishment. After more than 70 years of independence, we still have the dubious distinction of having the highest number of malnourished children in the world. Malnourishment does not catch the media attention because, unlike famine, it does not lead to dramatic deaths but affects the growth and intelligence of the child and is mostly irreversible. For your own self-interest, please reach out and do your bit for the needy, because I don't think the people who are denied, deprived, and discriminated against the basic necessities of life will stay quiet for very long. Let us remember, business cannot survive in a society that fails. Before I talk about the challenges in my life, I would like to share a little bit about my early years. I was born into a privileged Parsi home in Mumbai, and my father had his own business. Parsis tend to be over-westernized. So my father, who wanted me to be more rooted in Indian culture, selected a school which was bilingual, Gujarati and English. My brothers and all my cousins went to English medium schools. He sent me for learning Indian dancing, whereas my brothers were taught the violin. My father was willing to experiment with his daughter, but not with his sons. Although my school was excellent, I did not appreciate it, and lack of fluency in English made me doubt my self-worth. Today, I realize that while English is needed for commercial success and for personal expression, it should never be linked to one's self-worth. My two brothers were groomed to take over the reins of the family business. Though I was better at studies than my two brothers, I was never encouraged to join the business. So growing up, I always thought business was only for men. In fact, I was subtly and not so subtly reminded that my aim should be to get married and raise children. By training, I am a social worker, and destiny brought me to the corporate world. I am not the usual business head who had to climb the corporate ladder, and hence I would like to talk about my experience of handling 3 major challenges in my life and how I dealt with them. My late husband, Roynton, was the chair and managing director of our family business, Thermax. When he was in his late 40s, he had a massive heart attack and a large part of his heart was damaged. We went to the UK for his bypass surgery, and on the second day, he had a stroke. Though a brilliant man, in that state, he could not recognize me. He forgot to read and write, and his left side was partially paralyzed. The first challenge taught me 3 lessons. Doctors had said that my husband would never fully recover, but with determination and grit, Roynton relearned and wrote A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4 for months. His left hand was partially paralyzed, and he asked the physiotherapist to teach him to tie his shoelace. She suggested that for a month he practices tying a bow on his thigh. Roynton was up the entire night practicing, and the next morning he tied his shoelace. Within 2 years, he was back to his usual self. He took delegations abroad and even authored a book. The lesson I learned was never give up and have faith in yourself no matter what the experts say. As parents, we give great importance to education, believing nobody can take our knowledge away. Roynton's stroke was a humbling experience and taught me that a small blood clot can wipe away all our knowledge and intelligence. So the second important lesson was our intelligence and knowledge can be wiped out. Nothing in life is permanent. The third lesson was to take care of one's health and not to take it for granted. My husband was a workaholic, smoked, and loved food which was unhealthy. I used to make special efforts to cook healthy dishes, and with his sense of humor, he would say, "Delicious, do cook it when I'm out of town." From a young age, we need to nurture and invest in our health. When we returned from the UK, well-wishers suggested I join our family business, Thermax, which was a private limited engineering company at that time. I worked for 5 years in the human resources department under a wonderful boss, and when he decided to leave, I was made the head of HR. Our 2 children, Meher and Kurush, studied engineering in the UK and both decided to join the business as trainee engineers. Meher and her husband Feroz were sent to England to turn around a small business unit which was not doing well. I had promised Meher that at the time of her first delivery, I would spend 6 months with them. 4 years later, when she delivered, I went to England and kept my promise. In those days, HR used to focus on soft human issues, and I had not bothered to learn about operations. While I was in the UK, I decided that when I get back to India, I would come out of HR and learn hardcore business. The day I was returning, my husband was delighted to have me back, and he drove from Pune to Mumbai to receive me. But in Mumbai, he had a massive heart attack and died at the age of 60. Instead of seeing my husband after a long absence, I was greeted with the news of his demise. A year before Rohinton's passing away, our company Thermex had gone public. 2 days after my husband's death, the board decided that I should be the executive chairperson of Thermex. It was a very difficult period in my life, as I missed my husband terribly and felt very inadequate to assume this responsibility. I kept devaluing myself by saying the only reason I was given this position was because the family owned a majority of shares in the company. Soon after I took over as the chairperson, the Indian economy went through a downturn and our performance kept deteriorating. Our shares, which were earlier quoted at 400, declined to 35 rupees per share. The second challenge I had to face at this stage was that I had a choice, either to feel helpless and wallow in self-pity, allowing my sense of inadequacy to grow, or to get hold of myself and take charge of my life. In 1999-2000, Thermex posted a loss in our operations. However, our balance sheet showed a healthy profit thanks to our treasury operations. The terrible results was a wake-up call for me to do something drastic. I convinced the board to employ a consulting company to help us turn around the company. There was great resistance from our senior executives saying that I should have faith that things would improve as soon as the economy picked up. I think men find it difficult to seek help. Perhaps it comes in the way of the macho image. Am I correct? We had to take some very tough decisions, such as exiting from businesses like computer software and electronics, which were not our core competency. These added to our top line, but eroded our profit and took up a lot of management time. We were one of the first companies to be in software way before Wipro or Infosys, but did not know how to manage these businesses. My husband and I believed that through business, we should generate employment, and asking our employees to leave was most painful. We made a lot of changes, brought in operational efficiency by exiting from non-core businesses, reconstituted the entire board, which meant requesting the old board members to step down. At that time, I think Thermex must have been the first company to reconstitute the entire board. The family had to decide to be executives and retire from the board or stay on the board as non-executives. Meher and Firoz were used to being executives and on the board and were very upset with me for pushing them to make this difficult choice. But today, they understand and appreciate this decision. We introduced a robust performance culture and rekindled our traditions of innovation and customer focus. Those were tough challenges, but with destiny on our side, and thanks to all the help given by many people within and outside the company, and immense support from Mayor and Firoz, Thermex turned around in 2000 and 2001. In 2004, at the age of 61, I decided to retire, and the board appointed my daughter Meher as the chairperson. She's far more suited to head our company because she has her master's in chemical engineering from Imperial College, has a feel for finance, and has imbibed the family values. Why did I decide to retire when the company was doing well and I enjoyed the media glare? Coming from the HR background, I wanted a smooth, well-planned succession. I did not want the company and the next chairperson to go through the trauma I had to face. I wanted to change gears while I had the energy and move and work for the social sector. Third was an ego need. I did not want to undignify myself by holding on to the position till I was 85, 90, and all around were waiting, ye buddhi kabhi jayenge. I have seen too many men doing that, and I don't want to follow them. In August 2018, I have stepped down from the Thermex board. My family and a few directors were keen that I continue. I have made this choice because in Thermex, we expect our independent directors to retire at 75. And since I turned 76, I thought that the same rule should apply to family members. I love my company and very much enjoy being part of the Thermex board, and yet decided to retire because I believe there is a time and a place to let go of positions. If you ask me what was the most difficult challenge in my life, my response would be the third challenge that I faced, to learn to accept death and to come to terms with it. Please, may I have some water? Like most people, I imagined that death is something that happens to others. I was paranoid about death, and when anything unpleasant would be said, I would touch wood. Thank you. My husband's death was extremely painful, but I found it most difficult when my son Kurush was killed in a car accident 14 months after my husband passed away. In fact, the pain I felt when my husband died receded into insignificance compared to how I felt when my son died. He was only 25 with his entire life ahead of him. As a woman, I was not used to being on my own. I lived with my family and after marriage was with my in-laws. Our culture encourages a woman to be dependent on others, and learning to be self-sufficient was a new experience. Today, I love living on my own and value my solitude. For years, I had heard of Vipassana, a Buddhist meditation practice. How many of you have been through Vipassana? Put up your hands. One? Okay. For 10 days, you meditate for about 10 hours a day, and you are not allowed to talk or read. My husband, with his sense of humor, would say he would love to see me quiet for 10 days. After the deaths of two very precious people and feeling a deep void in my life, I decided to attend the meditation program. Since you cannot distract yourself, you eventually turn inwards and tap into your inner resource and strength. I have so far attended 4 10-day programs and found that meditating for an hour on a daily basis has been most helpful for me. To try and understand death, I read many books, but I realized reading is an intellectual pursuit, whereas meditation heals your heart. I learned that God is not partial to any human being, and all of us sitting in this room will die. It is inevitable. I want to repeat, all of us sitting in this room, we don't know whether you'll get your convocation, whatever certificate, whether Tatas will give you a dinner, but all of us are going to die. What we do not know is when, where, and how we will die. It is unpredictable. The sun rises and sets each day. And we don't cry when the sun sets because we have accepted this natural process. Similarly, all of us are born and have to leave this earth. But since we have not accepted this inevitable process, we refer to death as tragedy. For me, death being inevitable is not a tragedy. The real tragedy in life is the failure to get along with people who are alive, nurturing relationships that are important, and failing to invest in ourselves. Once you accept that no living person can escape death, you value the time you have on this earth, and life becomes very meaningful. I also realize after the death of a dear one, pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Suffering happens when you keep asking, why did this happen to me? Why has no answer and adds to our misery. You young students may wonder why this old woman is talking about an unpleasant subject like death on the day of our convocation. It is helpful to internalize the fact that loss, separation, and failure are built into our lives, and at some stage we have to face them. In fact, everything that happens in our lives, every so-called misfortune, every rejection or loss teaches us very profound learnings, provided we allow our lives to be our best teacher. As human beings, we have the ability to convert our struggle to grace or wallow in bitterness. The choice is ours. From a distance, corporate success seems to have all the glitter and glamour for which most people crave for. Let me assure you that without investing in yourself and without being at peace with yourselves and your dear ones, you may have all the worldly goodies and yet be a miserable human being. I would urge you to give a thought to not just your career, but also finding your deeper meaning and wider purpose in life. My late son was very keen that a part of our personal wealth be used for social causes. He had been abroad for 8 years and was uncomfortable with poverty. I wonder whether we who live in India, seeing suffering all around us, have become insensitive to the plight of the poor. After his death, I was searching for a credible NGO and came across Shaheen Mistry, who had started an NGO named Akanksha in Mumbai, which provided quality education for the underprivileged. Shaheen did not stop with Akanksha. With an audacious goal of providing quality education to every child in India, she was instrumental in creating Teach for India, which is modeled after Teach for America, with a vision to bring about systemic changes to revamp our education system. Shaheen asked if I would partner her, and I readily agreed. TFI is a nationwide movement with the vision that one day all children in India will attain excellent education. TFI's model has two parts, the fellowship and the alumni movement. I'm giving you details hoping many of you will join that movement. The fellowship is a 2-year full-time commitment which involves teaching in municipal and under-resourced private schools. Fellows are recruited from a large pool of applicants, excellent applicants. Typically, less than 7% of applicants make it through the rigorous selection process. We want to make teaching an aspirational profession and not something you take up because you have no better choice. The fellowship starts with an intensive residential 5-week training program. During the 2 years, they are supervised, coached, and trained to become leaders. The second part of the model is the alumni movement, which will bring about the systemic changes needed to reach our vision. TFI is currently operating in 7 cities and has 1,100 fellows, teaching nearly 38,000 children in 340 government and low-income private schools. 74% of our 2,500 strong alums have stayed back in the social sector and not joined the corporate world. Akanksha and TFI have demonstrated that given quality educations, life of underprivileged children can be transformed. 13 of our students have been selected on full scholarship by United World College to study in various countries. After completing their IB, each one will be sponsored to study in the US. I repeat, I do hope some of you, after your graduation, will find out more about TFI and apply so that you can join this exciting movement. At a time when nations choose to define themselves through their GDPs and individuals through their net worth, TFI fellows want to define themselves through the impact they make and reach out to their fellow human beings in need. You are among the privileged who could study and be a member of this prestigious institute. Can you join the fight against poverty, prejudice, ignorance, and insensitivity? I want to ask you a question. How many in this audience and on the stage would define yourself as extraordinary? Please put up your hands. Father, something's wrong with your recruitment. Huh? Really, something's wrong. The faculty, the students, the parents, nobody's extraordinary. It's far easier to define ourselves as ordinary, because then you can tell yourself, I'm just an ordinary person, what can you expect from me? Gandhiji was an ordinary person, but in Africa, he got in touch with his extraordinariness, and then we know what he was capable of doing. So, when we think we are ordinary, we have to push ourselves and give out our best. And when we have a bloated ego and we think we've done great and we are extraordinary, we also have to remember we are pretty ordinary. So a balance between this helps us. In life, if you tap the extraordinary self within you, and with a bit of luck, you can overcome most hurdles. I once again congratulate everyone who got their degree today and wish you a very successful work life. And my hope is that you continue to be good human beings and enjoy a meaningful and glorious life. Before I end, I want to tell you a story from Vipassana. There was a professor, young professor, who went on a long voyage. And being a professor, he had stacks and stacks of books with him. And on the ship was an old sailor who was illiterate. So he told the professor, we have this long voyage. Will you teach me every day? Professor said, of course, I'd love to. Come over. So when the sailor came the first day, the professor says, do you know what geology is? Never heard of it. You live on this earth and you don't know geology? 25% of your life is over. Poor sailor goes to his cabin dejected. Second day, the professor asked, do you know what oceanography is? No, never heard. You are a sailor, you live on the ship and you don't know oceanography? 50% of your life is over. Again, the sailor goes to his room dejected. Third day he says, do you know what meteorology is? No. The sun, the moon, you don't know? 75% of your life is over. The fourth day, the sailor comes running and says, Professor, do you know swimology? He says, no, what's that? He says, swimming. He says, the ship is sinking and 100% of your life is over. So, to me, swimology is the art of living. Unless you learn the art of living, all your degrees acquisitions are of no use. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am, for your enlightening address. As a token of appreciation, we request our chairman, Mr. T.V. Narendran, to hand over the mementos to Ms. Anu Aga.
Yes, of course. Of course, please.
I now call upon Dr. Ashish K. Pani, the Dean Academics, to present the winners of academic excellence. I request Ms. Anu Aga to give away the medals.
Academic Medals 2018-19. For the best all-round student in memory of Parinit Reddy is awarded to Gunika Bahal. For the best all-round woman student in memory of Geeta Saxena is awarded to Parishmita Basu. For the outstanding student in the Fellow in Management program in memory of KVK Raju is awarded to C. Savana Janani. For the highest CQPI in Human Resource Management program in memory of John P. DeCosta is awarded to Parishmita Basu. For the second highest CQPI in Human Resource Management program is awarded to Gunika Bahal. For the highest CQPI in Business Management program in memory of Ramavata Chachra is awarded to Barsa Bondada. For second highest CQPI in Business Management program sponsored by Janardhan Padya is awarded to Pratik Agarwal. For the highest CQPI in General Management program in memory of R.S. Pandey is awarded to B. Ravi. For the highest CQPI in Postgraduate Diploma in Business Management evening program, batch 1619, sponsored by Jagans, is awarded to Jia Ahmad. For social initiative sponsored by State Bank of India is awarded to Abhishek Basant Pujari. Pravesh Jain. Rohit Paul, Anshita Agarwal, Himanshi Gabba, Siddharth Karthikeyan,
I now call upon Father Jerry Kutina, SJ, the Dean Administration and Finance, to announce the names of those receiving their medals for long service and request our Chairman, Mr. Narendran, to give away the medals.
Long Service Medal 2019. Following are the recipients of the Long Service Medal. 25 years of service in XLRI, Mrs. Prabha Verma. Please put your hands together. Mrs. Prabha Verma. Mr. Frederick D'Souza. Mr. Sanjay Shah. "15 years of service, Professor Gaurav Vallabh. Mr. Bhaskar Balmuchu. Thank you. Thank you.
I now call upon Dr. Ashish Pani to administer the pledge to the graduating students.
I request all faculty members to please rise. On the recommendation of the faculty, the governing body pleased to confer the Fellow in Management on 11 students, the 2-year postgraduate diploma in Human Resource Management on 179 students, the 2-year postgraduate diploma in Business Management on 180 students, 15 months postgraduate diploma in General Management on 109 students, 3-year postgraduate diploma in Business Management evening program on 37 students. Faculty members, please sit down. Graduating student, please rise. Please repeat the pledge as I repeat after me as I read it. Pledge. We, the graduating students of XLRI, hereby pledge that empowered with knowledge, the quest for which shall never end, we aspire to be the responsible business leaders with integrity and honesty. We endorse the principles of responsible and ethical management and endeavor to work towards shaping the inclusive, sustainable global economy. We will refrain from corruption, unfair competition, or business practices harmful to society. As socially responsible citizens, we commit ourselves to bring about equity and fairness to the organization and society at large. We pledge to uphold the values of XLRI and shall always strive to apply our knowledge for the betterment of our society and bring glory to our institute. Graduating students, please take your seat.
I request the Dean Academics to present the fellow students and the graduates for their diplomas.
Now I present the recipients who have been approved to be conferred the title of Fellow in Management. Balamurugan A. C. Savana Janani. Praveen Kumar. Raja Singareddy. Suprava Pradhan. Anand Bipin Chandra Sa. Arbuda Sharma. Mahendra Singh Rao. Nidhi Dharman. Sai Ranjani Bharat Kumar. Sabir Hussain RV. Now I present the students who have qualified for the award of 2-year postgraduate diploma in business management and human resource management. Dear graduating students, BM and HRM program, please assemble in both my aisles, HRM to my right and BM to my left, and come onto the stage to receive the diploma when your name is announced. I'll be announcing the names of the first 5 rank holders in order of merit. First rank, Parismita Basu, Barsa Bondada. Second, now second will come here. Second rank, Gunika Bahal, Pratik Agarwal. Third rank, Jasdeep Singh, Saurabh Mathur. Fourth rank, Prakhar Pathak, Aswarya Jain. Fifth rank, Sasank Mahesh Venkat Subramanian. Now the other names will be announced in alphabetical order. May I request the audience not to applaud the graduates individually, but to do so after the entire graduating batch of 2019 receives the diploma. Akshay Gupta, Arts Dharmesh Mahetta. Akshay Singh, Astha Sharma. Amrit Amsuman, Abhishek Agarwal. Ami Teresa Joseph, Aditya Malhotra. Animesh Anand, Akshat Gupta. Ankit Bhattacharjee, Aman. Anmol Singhal, Anish Narula. Apurva Jain, Ankit Agarwal. Asutosh Tripathi, Anshul Mittal. Atisha Sharma, Anshuman Sahu. Ayush Raj. Chaitanya Arun Bapat. Chakshu Ishan Kaplash, Abhishek Jena. Deepak Wali, Bahas Sukla. Devanand Behra, Deepak Panda. Diksha Rakwal, Deepika Rawal. Ishita Gupta, Ibn Joseph. Garima Sinha, Garima Jain. Gopal Krishnan Ji, Gaurav Bhavani. Gunjan Rajput, H. Singh. Harjeep Singh Aluwalia, Jasmit Saluja. Harshit Shah, Jyoti Tripathi. Inder Chopra, Kadam Prathamesh. Kiran Kumar KV, Kalpit Narvekar. Krishna Dhanuka, Karun Vagadula. Lohit Reddy, Kunal Sekhar. Meenakshi Sundaram, Lovish Soen. Mugdha Sahakari, Mamata Deswal. Nikhil Asgaonkar, Marie Subhas. Nisarg Shah, Milan Garg. Nitin Agarwal, Nandagopal R. Pooja Singhal, Nikhil Chauhan. Pragya Parimita Saho, Ishan Azmi. Pragya Sharma, Pavan Kumar Vattat. Raghavi N, Pooja Patil. Rishabh Sethi, Pranay Roop Chatterjee. Ritesh Mago, Praveen Verma. Rahon Agarwal, Rachit VG. Ronit Mahanti, Rahul Prasad. Sakshi Tyagi, Ratul Kumar. Sivam Janeja, Rohan Jain. Sriya Chopra, Rohit Paul. Sriya Sukla, Rupans Daskar. Siddhant Sekhar, Sai Prasad Diwan. Siddharth Srivastava, Samir Satish Goel. Smith Kritibai Mahetta, Sanchit Verma. Sonali Agarwal, Sip Sama. Sonia Chandan, Sivam Sama. Sovik Maiti, Subankar Rajvanshi. Sri Krishna B, Sriya Vidyadhar Gore. Srishti Bhattad, Subham Bardhan. Suhani Swinil, Subham Singh. Tanishta Rao Chaudhary. Utkarsh Aryan, Subhranshu Kumar. Vinith Vishwanath Setti, Swati Kalyani. Vishal Tota, Syed Abbas Sahid. Yes Agarwal, Tarun Sachdeva. Venkata Nagarjuna V. Vivek R. Yadu Arvind Menon. Yatin Arora. ASVS Vagirat, Asit Agarwal. Others M. Abneet Kumar. Abhishek A. Abhishek Pujari. Aditya Nagpal. Akanksha Dangi. Akshay Vasistha. Ansita Agarwal, Anant Agarwal. Anusri Rai, Ankan Case. Anusruti Priya, Ankur Bansal. Ashish Kumar Apurva Goyal. Ashish Kumar Agarwal, Arjun M.K. Asutosh Panda, Ashwin Kumar. Atiba Hossain, Atul Singh. Dibyan Mitra, Ayan Sa. Devdatta Chatterjee, Ramendra Chandrapati. Deepam Kashyap, Dhruv Kushwa. Dipansi Sirohe, Dipanjana Basu. Harsendu Hela, Gauri S. Himansi Gabba, Jitesh Wadhwa.